Oh, why is it so frickin' cold down here? Can't I film somewhere warmer? That's better. So if you've been here a while, you may remember me making a very special doll for a very special fan of Final Fantasy XIV. Try saying that 10 times fast. Last time, I made a bunny man with a sword. This time, I'm making a bunny man with a scythe. More specifically, he's going to be my bunny man. Instead of making a custom outfit like I did last time, I'm going to challenge myself further by sticking as closely to the in-game design as possible, while still adding a personal touch to the look since I'm no longer constrained by in-game limitations. And while Reapers are, of course, the super edgelord class, along with Dark Knight, my Reaper is going to be cute and cozy, because this is me, and I can't be bothered to look any way else. I'm using this Make-It-Own Pullip doll I bought from Pullip Style as my base. I think it would just suit him better than a BTS doll would. As always, I'm starting with the outfit. I bashed together some quick and dirty patterns from stuff I had in my stash, and created some eye-searing yet helpful mock-ups for the actual garments. To start, I'm using this light and sheer fabric to make the blouse. I added the lacing detail with embroidery thread. I needed to alter the shirt a little once it was sewn, but it was worth it for that perfect fit. For the unnecessarily complicated pants, I created a cutout pattern for the inner thighs, sewed them back in, and then top-stitched the front seams before sewing everything together. There's some slight tapering at the calves, as well as this mind-boggling cable knit design that I simply cannot wrap my head around. Come on, Square, these are literally mom shorts on female characters. The tapering is easy enough, but I'll omit the cable knit detail for my own sanity. But you may have noticed that the pants are the wrong color. Gasp! Well, I suppose it's time for me to dye these pants. Obviously. Like in my reference, I dyed the pants a pastel minty green color. There's no footage of this. It was literally in the pot for about 15 seconds before I got the color I wanted. For the robe, I guess it's technically a gown according to the in-game item description, I'm using this gauzy fabric to make it look textured and light. But you may notice that this is also not the right color. A significantly longer trip to the dye pot fixed that. I used embroidery thread to add the tassels at the bottom, and some glass beads to help the bottom of the garment drape more naturally. Like the shirt, I used embroidery thread to add the lacing on the back. Now for the gown's pattern, I was planning on adding all the fun details with my Cricut because I didn't want to embroider all those designs. I even found this map of the in-game items pattern on Twitter and used that as my base, appropriately coloring the pieces before printing them out on colored vinyl. However, so much of the detail was lost when I scaled the designs down to doll scale, so I ended up biting the bullet and hand-painting the design myself. I used the same fabric softener and acrylic paint trick from my Vocaloid collab video to DIY some fabric paint. Looks pretty good to me. I did have to force the fabric to drape how I wanted it, though. Until I posed the doll, what normally would be light and drapey ended up looking a little frumpy on this small scale. For the boots, I used a modified version of one of Moonlight Jewel's doll shoe patterns to create something relatively accurate that would hopefully help the doll stand unassisted. I made them a little larger than Isul's feet because I wanted to give my bunny man that him boot too big Kingdom Hearts aesthetic that I used on the other doll. I used some of the leftover interface pleather from my OG Plague Doctor for the pattern pieces, and 3D printed a part of a sculpt of women's boots so I could harvest the platforms. Ultimately, I decided not to use the first pair of boots I made because they were a little too janky for what I wanted. Then I 3D printed them using the whole file that I harvested the soles from, but they didn't fit right. Ultimately, I used the good old masking tape method to make pattern pieces from the 3D print, and just made them from scratch again. Still not perfect, but a hell of a lot better than the first pair. And if you're wondering if the doll can stand unassisted, he can't. Before I can start the face-up, I need to slightly alter the base doll's skin tone into something a little paler, but still slightly rosy. I'm also using these STL files I purchased from Aelith Art on Etsy to print his ears. I've installed magnets to make them easy to put on or remove as needed. I also flocked them so they'd be fuzzy. This unfortunately ate some of the detail on the sculpts, but they'll ultimately match the wig better with the flocking. My bun boy thankfully has a very simple face, but it's all the more reason to get it right. This seems like a good face-up for some micropigment, so I added some on the first and the last layers. I'm starting with his eyebrows so I can more easily map out his face paint once I get to it. I didn't do anything for this face-up in a nice cohesive order, so I'm just going to shut up and let you watch the chaos. Now that its face is done, I'm gonna make his eyes. I'm just tracing around the eye chips included with the doll to make his irises, and coloring them with some iridescent ink. Put everything together with a small blob of UV resin, and the eyes are ready to be installed. Pullips are well known for their intricate eye mechanisms, which not only allow you to close the doll's eyes, but move them around and provide further options for posability and display. They are small and fiddly though, so I apologize in advance for some less than graceful footage of me installing this. Also, I didn't even install it correctly in hindsight. I didn't install the springs in the right place, so oops, don't use this as a tutorial, please. Humorously enough, my boy will have the same hairstyle as the last bunny man I made, only a lot bigger. Hopefully, Or thankfully, my wig making and hairstyling have both improved enough over the last year to where this doesn't seem quite so terrifying. Mostly. The combination of the wig and ears make the doll a little top-heavy, but careful posing helps a lot. I had just enough wefts to make the wig, but I styled it almost purely out of spite because it gave me no shortage of trouble. Since these Final Fantasy weapons are on a whole other level of detail, I'll be 3D printing my boy's scythe. This model of the in-game Phasicle was sculpted by a friend, who, when asked how they'd like to be credited in the video, replied, and I quote, "Anything but that." So, there you go. It took a hot minute and lots of back and forth to get the scythe ready to print, but I think y'all can agree that it was worth the wait. Big thanks again to
Name and address withheld
for your hard work, attention to detail, and persistence. You really outdid yourself with this one. Paint it up and it's ready for combat. It's accessory time. Gonna go quick here before this project is late. First, he got a little necklace. I made it with embroidery thread and resin. Next, he gets his flower crown. I'm making these with artificial flowers from my stash. Every warrior of light needs a traveling buddy. I found this model of Goodest Boy Alpha on Thingiverse, so I printed him to travel alongside my boy as he explores the source and beyond. I also flocked him to make Alpha's feathers look appropriately fuzzy. Now we can call this project done. I've wanted to make my Final Fantasy XIV character for a long time, and I'm glad I finally got the opportunity to do it. It also allowed me to experiment more with my creations thanks to the addition of shoemaking, 3D printing, and vinyl cutting. I'm also glad that I finally got to work on another pull-up vase. Overall, I'm really happy with how he turned out. I think he may be one of my favorite projects to date, even if he did take longer than I was hoping. What do you think of my bunny man? Let me know down in the comments, or just leave me a bunny emoji to let me know you made it this far. Now I gotta get the anchors out of my pants and start February's project if I want to get it done on time. Thanks again for watching, my dudes, and I'll see you next time.